Congrats, we are here with our next franchise mode, which as you can see is going to be with the Colorado Avalanche. Now you might wonder, why are we in Colorado? They're already a really good team. They don't need any help. Well, that is true. That is true. They're very likely going to be a very good team early on. But the key for Colorado here is going to be sustained success, right? As we take a look at the roster, a lot of guys here are in their prime or past it. A lot of veterans on this team. And you take a look at potential players, we really don't have much in terms of notable prospects or young players at all, right? You have Ilya Nabokov, 22 years of age, in goal with a 1.5 star ability, 3.5 star potential. And then you have Mikhail Guyayev, 20 years of age, 1 star ability, 3.5 star potential on defense. But besides those two, there's not really too many, like I said, too many notable prospects here. No young players either that are currently on the roster, really, besides maybe Gavin Brindley, 20 years of age. Then I think you also have to consider the fact that Cale Makar only has 2 years left on his current deal, which means he is due for an extension starting in year number 2. And I can only imagine what he's going to be asking for on his extension. I'm thinking it's going to be, minimum 11, 12 million for the next 7 or 8 years with a no movement clause, right? And that's on top of course, Nathan MacKinnon's contract, 12.6 million for the next 6 years. He's going to be 35 by the time it ends. And then you also have Marty Necas, currently 26 years of age, who is already on an 8-year extension worth 11.5 million for the next 8 years and a no movement clause. So this is going to be a very interesting team as far as contract management goes. And then you also have, of course, Gabriel Landeskog, who is 32 years of age, 7 million for the next 4 years and a no movement clause. So, and obviously, he's not as good as he once was, only 2.5 star ability. And obviously he's been here for a long time. So I would like to hold on to Landeskog for as long as possible. I'm just going to make that clear right now. I think he deserves to retire as a Colorado Avalanche, but the salary cap situation, I will say, is going to be very interesting in the first couple of years or so, especially since we do not have a first, a second, or a third in this upcoming draft in 2026, right? So it's just going to be, I think, going to be a very interesting challenge, and it makes for a different scenario, right? Instead of the usual starting with a rebuilding team like Buffalo and, gradually building them up. So instead, we're starting with a cup contending team and then trying to maintain what they've already built while also managing the contract situation correctly. And then, eventually, hopefully getting some better younger players on board. So with that all said, let's go over the roster of your Colorado Avalanche. So in goal, I guess we'll start with the depth chart here. You have Scott Wedgwood at the 3.5 star ability. He's 32 years of age, 1.5 on his salary for this year, but he has an extension for the next year as well, worth 2.5. Now, it is worth noting, he unfortunately does not perform well in big games according to his personality trait there. So Wedgwood may not be somebody who we're going to be holding on to for too long. I mean, especially at his age, right? 32 years of age. But still, that's not a desirable trait to have, especially on a contending team. Then you have Mackenzie Blackwood, 28 years of age, making 5.25 for 5 years on his contract as a 3-star ability. So we'll see what he can do in the simulation. Then in goal, you have Ilya Nabokov, our best goalie prospect and best prospect in general, as a 1.5 star ability, 3.5 star potential. Now, it is worth noting that Nabokov has the opposite personality trait of Wedgwood. The bigger the game, the better he performs. So Nabokov is somebody who I think I would like to develop. I mean, I know goaltenders are always a wild card in this game, right? But still, I hope Nabokov does pan out to what his potential says he will, because he could be an invaluable asset if that turns out to be true. His personality trait of the bigger the game, better he performs, turns out to be true, right? And then you also have the 24-year-old Trent Miner, 1.5 star ability, 2.5 star potential. Like I said, goaltender is always a wild card in this game, so we'll see how he turns out. Luca Cloutier, 18 years of age, 0.5 star talent, 2.5 star potential. So he's probably going to take a while. And then Shamil Shmakov, can't see him sticking around for too long, already 25 years of age, still a 0.5 star talent. Isaac Posh and Ivan Yunin, 19 years of age and a 1.5 star potential. Then on defense, of course, you have Cale Makar, 5-star ability at 26 years of age, making $9 million for the next 2 years on his cap hit. Again, going to be interesting to see what he wants on his extension coming next year. Personality-wise, he's great. Obviously, he's the cornerstone of the team, so we're going to be keeping him around for as long as possible. Devon Taves, 31 years of age, 3.5-star ability. He is making 7.25 on his cap hit for the next 6 years with a no movement clause at 31 years of age. So that's another one. That's another contract that's going to be kind of a pain, I would imagine, especially in the latter half of it. So, I mean, obviously, we're going to try to keep him on board, at least for the first couple of years, just to see what we can do during the playoffs, right? But especially, I think from year 3 onward of that contract, it's going to be a very interesting one to see how we can manage it, because yeah, I mean, obviously the cap situation is already kind of crunchy, right? And obviously with the extension to Nate just kicking in next year, I believe. Yeah, and he's currently only making 6.5 on his cap hit. He's going up to 11.5. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting situation here in Colorado early on, especially financially. Then you have Brent Burns, the 40-year-old defenseman, only making $1 million for 1 year. Obviously, can't see him sticking around for too much longer, but we'll make the best of use of him while we can. Then you have Samuel Girard, 27 years of age, making $5 million for 2 years at a 2.5-star ability. He's a mobile defenseman, so maybe we can get some offense from him. 19 speed, 18 agility and acceleration. I really like that. He has a good personality, so I think Girard might be someone who I want to keep, at least for the foreseeable future. Sam Malinsky, with a 2.5-star ability, 26 years of age. He's an offensive defenseman, 13 quarterback rating, although he could be a better two-way defenseman with the 14 rating there. And personality-wise, nothing too concerning there. So Malinsky looks like a pretty good depth defenseman. Josh Manson, 33 years of age, making 3.95 for the next 2 years with a no-trade clause on his contract. So at least the contract length isn't too bad here. He does, okay, so yeah, this might be something we want to deal with right away. Personality-wise, he has some issues handling criticism. He will adjust well to a new environment, but he also will not be well liked. We do not want that kind of personality trait around here. So I think I'm just going to go directly into the roster and I will put him on the trade block, because honestly, I do not want him playing a single game for us with that personality trait. Then you have Jacob McDonald, 32 years of age, currently suffering an indefinite injury with a 2-star talent. Can't imagine he's going to be sticking around for too long. Jaka Khan, who is 28 years of age, 2-star talent. It looks like might be a good depth defenseman, at least for right now. Ronnie Attard also has an indefinite knee injury. Then you have Keaton Middleton, 27 years of age, half-star talent. You have Wyatt Amat, 27 years of age, 1.5-star talent. Mikhail Gulyev, who is our best skater prospect and also, of course, best prospect on defense, 20 years of age, 1-star talent, 3.5-star potential. Personality-wise, his temper might sometimes get the best of him. Obviously, being our best prospect right now, we're going to be keeping him, at least for the time being. Then you have Alex Gagne, 22 years of age, 1-star ability, 2.5-star potential. He may have difficulty performing well under pressure. Don't exactly like that, so I can't imagine he's going to be much of a key part of our team moving forward. You have Cy Weinstein, who is 20 years of age, half-star talent, 1.5-star potential. Can't see him being a big part of the roster. Sean Behrens, who is 22 years of age, indefinite knee injury, half-star talent, 2.5-star potential. I mean, most of his good development years are already behind him, so I can't imagine he's going to be doing much. And then you have Francesco Del Alecci. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. 2.5-star potential. Has a little prone to controversy. That's not the end of the world. Gets along well with everyone. Isn't known to be particularly dirty. So I am a little wary of that personality trait right there, the little prone to controversy, but we'll see what he turns out to be. Then you have Ishminikov, who is a 1.5-star potential. Tori Pittner, who is a 2-star potential at 19 years of age. Chris Romaine, who's 21 years of age, 1.5-star potential. And then Linus Funk, who is 18 years of age, 2-star potential. And now onto forwards, you have Arturi Lehkonen at left wing, 3.5-star ability at 29 years of age, currently making 4.5 for the next 2 years with a no trade clause. Let's take a look at his personality. Yeah, it's a good personality. I'll keep him around for sure. Then you have Ross Colton, 28 years of age, 2.5-star ability, 14 grinder rating. So a decent bottom 6 guy. Personality-wise is okay, and he's making $4 million for the next 2 years, so I think we'll be keeping him around if possible. But if the circumstances call for it, he may be somebody who we want to consider moving. Then, of course, you have the captain, Gabriel Landeskog, 32 years of age, making $7 million for the next 4 years and a no movement clause at the 2.5-star ability. That's not ideal. He is still an effective player with that 16 power forward rating, but we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on Landeskog just to make sure that he doesn't really drop down to something that's unmanageable, right? So we're going to certainly make the best use out of Landeskog while we can. That is for sure. And then the AHL, you have Valtteri Puustinen, who is 26 years of age, 2-star talent. You have Ty Fellhaber, who is 26 years of age, 2-star talent. You have Daniil Gushkin, who is 23 years of age, 2-star talent. You have Joel Kiviranta, 29 years of age. He's on the NHL roster, 2-star ability, a 13 aggressive forechecker rating. He's only making 1.25 on his contract for this year, so I guess we'll keep him around as some depth. And you have Sampo Ranta, 25 years of age, indefinite knee injury, 1.5-star talent. And then Cooper Gay, 23 years of age, 1.5-star talent and potential. And then at center, of course, you have Nathan McKinnon, who is a 5-star ability, 29 years of age, making 12.6 on his current contract for the next 6 years and a no movement clause. So he is, obviously, we're going to be keeping him around for as long as possible. Then you have Brock Nelson, 33 years of age, 4-star ability, and making 7.5 on his current cap hit for the next 3 years and a no movement clause. So a lot of no movement clauses here on this team. You have Alex Barre-Boulet, who is a 2.5-star ability in the minors, 28 years of age, and on a minimum deal, it looks like. Yes, indeed. Actually, I forgot to take a look at Kiviranta's personality. Yeah, nothing too bad there. Let's take a look at McKinnon's personality. Yep, that looks good. And then Brock Nelson's personality, big game performer. I like that. So we'll try to keep him around for at least for the first year or two. And then Alex Barre-Boulet may have some issues dealing with adversity. So that's not the worst thing in the world, but not preferable. Then you have TJ Tynan, 33 years of age, 2.5-star ability, does not perform well in big games, so can't imagine he's going to be sticking around too long. I mean, he is in the AHL. He's a depth player, but I'm probably not going to be re-signing him. Then you have Jack Drury, 25 years of age, 2-star ability, is a decent personality, and he's making 1.725 for the next year on his contract. Then you have Parker Kelly, 26 years of age, making a minimum $825K for 1 year. Personality-wise, he has some issues dealing with adversity and has a tendency to get a little overconfident. Not sure if I like that. 13 back-checking forward rating. Then you have Zakhar Bardakov, who is 24 years of age, 2-star ability, $867,000 for 1 year on his contract. And then personality-wise, he looks good. Then you have the 21-year-old Nikita Prishkapov, 1.5-star ability, 2.5-star potential. He does have an indefinite injury, though, so not sure when he's going to be back. He also has a tendency to get a little overconfident and has some issues handling criticism. So not too sure about his future, especially with his indefinite knee injury at 21 years of age. That's going to be a solid year of key development that he's leaving behind, And then you have Ivan, who is a 1.5-star ability, 2.5-star potential at 22 years of age. Personality-wise, he looks pretty good. Contract, he's making a minimum contract for 1 year currently in the AHL. Then you have Tristan Nielsen at 25 years of age, 1.5-star talent. Chase Bradley, 23 years of age, 1.5-star talent. Taylor McCarr, who I assume is Kale's brother. He unfortunately does not perform well in big games, so can't imagine we're going to keep him on the roster. Sorry there, Kale. Then you have Matthew Steinberg, who is 24 years of age, 1-star talent. Maximilian Curran, who is 18 years of age, 1-star talent, 3-star potential, so a decent prospect here. Personality-wise, he gets along well with everyone and handles criticism in a constructive manner. Not known for being loyal to his teams, unfortunately, but overall seems pretty decent prospect. We'll see how he turns out in the future. They have Jake Fisher, 20 years of age, 2-star potential, and Nolan Rode, 19 years of age, 2-star potential. And then at right wing, you have Marty Necas, 26 years of age, making 6.5 on his contract for this year, and then on his extension, 11.5 for the next 8 years with a no movement clause. And of course, at that 4.5-star ability, I would have to imagine he's well worth it. 18 counter-attacking forward rating as well. So he's very effective in that role, and then personality-wise, he seems pretty good there. Then you have Valerian Nichushkin, 30 years of age, 3.5-star ability, 17 power forward rating. He is currently making 6.1 for the next 5 years and a no trade and no movement clause on his contract. He may be one of those guys who we want to consider moving just because of the cap situation being the way it is. He's already at, 30 years of age. And I think if we could get something decent back for him, which given that he is a 3.5-star ability, I think we should be able to get something decent back for Attribution is my point. And with where we're at as a team, I mean, obviously we're going to be contending year 1, year 2, right? But he might be somebody who we want to unload for a draft pick. And then you have Victor Olofsson, who's 29 years of age, 3-star ability, making 1.575 on his cap hit for the next year. Okay. Might be successful, but he won't be well liked. That is an instant ticket to the trade block. So Olofsson onto the trade block you go. Then you have Logan O'Connor, 28 years of age, 2.5-star ability. He does have an indefinite hip soreness injury, so not sure what he's going to be back. As contract 2.5 for the next 7 years and a no trade clause. So very team friendly deal in terms of length and cap it overall. But I think how valuable that is depends on when he comes back from his injury and also how good he is when he does come back from his injury, right? That could be like a year from now. So hopefully his 2.5-star ability does not regress for the duration of his injury, because if it does, then he may be someone who we want to consider unloading, if only to free up a little bit more cap. And then you have the 20-year-old Gavin Brindley. He is by far the youngest player on our roster. 2-star ability, 3-star potential. So a decent prospect, or I guess at this point, a decent young player. Although I guess he hasn't technically played a game yet for us. He played 1 game for Columbus back in the 2023-24 season, and he has a decent personality. Oh, actually, speaking of what, going back to O'Connor's personality, he has no tolerance for change and seems to disappear when the game is on the line. I don't really like that. So you know what? I think regardless of his injury, I'm going to place him. Well, first of all, I'll place him on the injury list. But once he comes back from his injury, I think I'm going to place him on the trade block. And then the AHL, you have Jason Poland, who is 26 years of age, 1.5-star talent, and Christian Humphreys, 19 years of age, 1-star talent and 2.5-star potential. So that will just about do it for your Colorado Avalanche roster. Obviously, like I said, this is going to be a very interesting team. There is a lot of veterans on this team, a lot of contracts that are, that may be problematic going into next season, especially once the Natchez contract kicks in. You have no first, second, or third round picks for this year. You have very few good young prospects. So it's going to be a very interesting team to match, especially early on, right? To be a very interesting team. But before we wrap things up here, we are going to be creating a custom player for a channel member, Mr. Zeke Burns, as always. And if you want your own custom player showing up in these videos, consider joining the channel as a member under the salary retention MVP tier. Once you join the channel as a member, you should have access to a Google form, which will be on the membership tab of the channel and also on the membership info channel of the Discord server. All right, here we are at the picker wheel. And first, we're going to determine Zeke Burns' current ability. So there we go. Where will it land? It will be, 2.5-star ability right out of the gate. And now we will see its potential, which can be no less than 2.5-star. So let's spin the wheel. What'll it be? And it will be 2.5-star potential. Okay. So got lucky with the current ability for sure. Potential, not so much, but you never know. He might be able to push it, right? He might be able to push his potential up depending on how well he does. So let's create Zeke Burns. And there you go. He should be eligible for this year's draft, or the upcoming draft in 2026, I believe. Actually, you know what? Maybe I should have made him 17 then. Yeah, maybe I should make him 17. I'll turn his age to 17. I'll make his year of birth 2008. There you go. Because it's going to be a full year before that draft happens, right? So I figure may as well. Anyway, with that all done, I think that'll just about do it for this one. So I'll end things off here, but not before I thank the channel members. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.